Roads connect people. They allow different communities to link with one another and the rest of the world. Public roads are designed to be safe. Unfortunately, even the most well-constructed roads can be dangerous, especially if Mother Nature enters the picture. Check out our top 10 most dangerous roads. Number 1. Fairy Meadows in Pakistan. Now don't let this 10-mile stretch of mostly dirt road fool you. It may give you a stunning view of this area of Pakistan, but take your eyes off the road for too long and you're facing a drop of a few thousand feet. The Fairy Meadows Road has consistently been named as one of the world's most dangerous roads, and it's quite easy to see why. Stretching from the Karakoram Highway, another deadly passageway, and running through the heart of the Gilgit-Baltistan region and terminating in Tato, Fairy Meadows combines the dangers of high altitude, a completely unmaintained gravel surface, and a highly unstable rock face just waiting to fall. Now, while there are sections of the 10-mile-long death road that are considered to be safe, the most treacherous is the 6-mile ascent, where vehicles literally crawl at a snail's pace. One wrong move, and it's worse than base jumping off the Empire State Building. One small mistake can send the vehicle hurtling towards the valley floor, and don't expect a soft landing. What you will be greeted by are jagged edges of rocks that are bigger than a London double-decker bus. There's no crash barriers, no street lights, and no one dares to drive the Fairy Meadows at night. At its widest, there's barely enough room to squeeze by an oncoming vehicle, and if you make a mistake, there's no second chances. Number 2. The North Yungas Road, or El Camino de la Muerta in Bolivia. Now, they call this the Road of Fate, or more fittingly, Death Road. There are plenty of reasons why Bolivia's North Yungas Road is considered one of the world's worst. It's more than 3 times longer than Fairy Meadows at 35 miles and extends from La Paz all the way to Corico. Now, it's estimated that between 200 to 300 travelers have lost their lives on this infamous road. And if you do find the nerve to traverse this famous pass, you'd see an eerie reminder of the unfortunate commuters before you who have succumbed to the perilous road. Crosses are dotted along the route, marking the spots where cars, trucks, and other vehicles have fallen. The first challenge you're going to face is a 15,260-foot ascent towards La Cumbre Pass. It's a snail's climb, as the steep grade of road will usually put a strain upon even the meanest of engines in the land. Then it's a 3,900-foot descent, a favorite section among daredevil cyclists and mountain bikers, toward Corico. Now, what you won't want to do is to attempt the El Camino de la Muerte during the rainy season. This stretch is located high up in the mountains, and visibility can be hampered by both rain and fog. The road can get so muddy and slippery, in fact, that it can become a source of danger within itself. Zojila in India. It may be just 5.6 miles in length, but the Zojila can be a test for even the most experienced local driver, reaching an altitude of over 11,575 feet above sea level. The Zoji Pass connects Ahmedleh to Srinagar in the Jammu and Kashmir region of India and is of great economic importance to the area. Now, there's no passing the Zojila in wintertime, as it's virtually impassable, and compared to other roads in the list, Zojila is wider by several inches. However, it still demands the nerves of steel to traverse. Confidence in your driving skills and a little good fortune is the key to successfully navigating the pass. If it rains, the road can be especially treacherous. So whatever you do, don't peer out your window on the tight pass unless you have a strong stomach for heights. However, if you do, you can be rewarded with a magnificent landscape. The view is stunning, but getting distracted by the amazing views can see you plunging down into the abyss several thousand feet below. Number 4. Guliang Tunnel Road in China. If you were to take a helicopter ride along the Tahang Mountains in Hujian, in China's province of Henan, you would be lucky to catch a glimpse of the Guliang Road, except perhaps for a few rectangular openings carved out of the mountain wall every 100 feet or so, because this road is built into the mountain. The tunnel road is only 3/4 of a mile long, yet it's considered to be one of the most treacherous 3/4 of a mile that you'll ever drive on. The tunnel road would be constructed by 13 villagers from the tiny village of Guliang, and they carved the tunnel out by hand, using only primitive chisels and hammers in an effort to connect the village to the rest of the world. After 5 years of construction, it was finally completed and opened to the public on May 1st of 1977. The danger is not necessarily in falling off of the rocky face of the mountain, since there are barriers between the road and the sheer abyss. But nevertheless, the tunnel road remains one of the most dangerous, since one small mistake can be disastrous, not only to you, but also to many tourists who make it their bucket list to walk through the busy man-made tunnels. Number 5. Taroko Gorge Road in Taiwan. Now, if you've got vertigo or perhaps a morbid fear of landslides or even have nightmares about the earth above you caving in on you, then don't ever dare drive through the Taroko Gorge Road in Taiwan. But if you are insane enough to do so, you'll be rewarded with the stunning picturesque mountain landscapes that the area has to offer. The road itself is an engineering masterpiece, having been carved out by the most advanced in tunnel digging technologies in the world. But the very nature of the gorge where it's constructed makes it one of the world's most dangerous. There are barriers along the entire stretch of the road. However, there are also numerous blind curves, narrow paths, and sharp turns that require a zen-like focus if you want to reach the Taiwanese coasts alive. What makes it quite tricky is that there are buses, cars, scooters, and pedestrians jockeying for position on this narrow road. And if you're familiar with Taiwan, you know that the area is also plagued with powerful storms. It's also part of the Pacific Ring of Fire, an earthquake-prone area. Now add in landslides and rock slides to the fray, and you'll know why this is one of the most treacherous, albeit magnificently built roads on the planet. Number 6. Svalbard Road in Iceland. Also known as Route 622, Svalbard Road is a 13.6-mile passageway that connects two parts of Iceland and provides some dramatic views of some of the most beautiful fjords you'll ever see. Rough gravel provides a path that only the most capable four-wheel drive vehicles with exceptionally high ground clearance can pass. Reaching the southern portion of the road requires pinpoint timing, since you'd have to go in during the low tide. One wrong calculation could leave you stranded, meaning several hours of waiting to see the tide recede from the shore. You also have to pray that it doesn't rain when you try to navigate the road, as even the most experienced drivers have been tested in wet conditions, and many have failed. The lowest part of the road simply vanishes from the face of the earth during the winter storms, and you'd also have to contend with landslides, heavy snowfalls, and avalanches. There are a lot of things that can go wrong. The road itself is unusually narrow, often blanketed with rocks that are as big as the jerry can in the back of your Jeep. And there are also overhanging rocks as well, just waiting for the right trigger before they begin to rain down. But here's the thing. If you do manage to conquer the road on your own, you'd really have to give yourself a pat on the back, as only the most rare breed of drivers can do so on their first try. Number 7. Abano Pass in Georgia. How fast could you drive a 52-mile stretch of road? In under an hour, right? Well, if you try the Abano Pass in Tusheti, Georgia, it could take you 12 hours or even more. This pass is located directly in the heart of the Caucasus Mountains at about 9,350 feet above sea level. Weather conditions can change in the blink of an eye. Only purpose-built 4x4 vehicles could ever hope to successfully navigate the pass. Abano Pass links Tusheti in the north and Kakheti in the south, and driving the pass is only allowed during the summertime. Even then, frequent changes in the weather can warrant its closure at any moment, and if you happen to be driving the stretch when authorities decide to close it down, then you'll have to sit tight and pray that landslides, rock slides, and avalanches won't be hurtling at your path. There are sections of the pass that are quite remote, so it's expected that you gear up, take plenty of food and water, and don't make the mistake of having a big breakfast prior to the ascent. The road can knock you around. Snaking your way up the bumpy road with loose rocks and deep ruts, combined with the high altitude, can turn even the tightest stomach. So if you decide to navigate it, remember, this is one of Europe's highest roads. Number 8. Skipper's Canyon Road in New Zealand. The Skipper's Canyon Road is not only one of the most dangerous roads on the planet, it also is one of the most scariest. There are 16.5 miles of very narrow roads, barely large enough to fit a single car, let alone two vehicles coming from opposite directions. So I hope you've been practicing your reversing skills, because you could be backing up for 1.5 miles just to find a spot to pass. The road was actually carved out by miners with their bare hands some 140 years ago during the gold rush of the 1880s, and now it's used for access to whitewater rafting and jet boat trips. But don't look down as you pass another vehicle on the path. The bottom is several hundred feet below, and you will observe the tires of your vehicle teetering on the edge of a sheer drop with nothing to obstruct the view at the bottom. If that's not enough, the faces of the cliffs are filled with rocky outcrops and fallen rocks litter the floor, and nevertheless, it makes the views superb and the whole journey worth every tension-filled moment. By the time you realize you would have preferred to pay the extra charge to take the helicopter, it's already too late to change your mind. Number 9. James Dalton Highway in Alaska. Unlike other dangerous roads on the planet, there are no rocky cliffs here that can instantly spell your doom. You can drive the entire 414 miles of the James Dalton on the former Alaska Route 11 without fear of any kind of rock slides, landslides, or even mudslides. In fact, there's no sheer vertical faces of hard rock or stomach-churning drops haunting you while you drive. So, what's the problem? Well, it's boredom, and the feeling of being so isolated from the rest of the world. This stretch of gravel highway has been dubbed the loneliest road on the earth, and there's a reason why Alaska is known as the United States' last frontier. Help, or even other users of the road, can be few and far between, and you'd need to take a crash course in survival if you ever become stranded at the side of it. Which is exactly what can happen if you have an encounter with one of the huge hauling trucks lumbering along the empty road. If you do see a large truck, be sure to give it way. Try to break this rule, and you'll find out just how unforgiving the Alaskan frontier is. Number 10. The Karakoram Highway from Pakistan to China. Rounding up our list of 10 most dangerous roads in the world is the Karakoram Highway. This 800-mile stretch that connects China with Pakistan is known as the planet's hardest alpine climb, a mixture of paved and unpaved road, with the former only on the Chinese side of the stretch. It follows the spine of the Karakoram mountain range, passing right through the Khunjerab Pass, and it took 27 years, costing 892 workers' lives to complete the road. The highway is also regarded as one of the scariest roads you'll ever drive on. The road itself, especially on the 551-mile Pakistani Trail, can test your stamina as well as the power and handling of your vehicle. With hundreds of twists and turns, mostly one or two of your wheels hanging precariously just above the precipice, only the toughest drivers dare take on the mighty Karakoram. There are avalanches, landslides, and heavy snowfalls as well. And since it's located high up in the mountain range, it's definitely not for those with an intense fear of heights or even those with altitude sickness. On one side of the road is the face of the Karakoram, often with razor-sharp rocks jutting out of the mountain, and on the other side of the road, a sheer vertical drop, blanketed in low-level clouds. Without the protection of guardrails, your margin of error is pretty slim. But make no mistake, the Karakoram kills. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on your notifications for more in the future. And I'll see you next time.